Welcome to Frost and Sullivan's Growth Podcast. In each episode, we take a deeper look at transformative shifts shaping global ecosystems, from industry megatrends and technology innovation to evolving customer expectations. Today, we're exploring the top 10 growth opportunities in urban mobility and last mile delivery solutions for 2026, unpacking where the next wave of opportunities are unfolding and what it means for future ready businesses. Urban mobility in 2026 is standing at a tipping point, and this podcast dives into how cities, companies, and ecosystems are reshaping last mile delivery and growth opportunities in the process. We will cover the transformation taking place in the electric vehicles, two and three wheelers, and shared mobility industries. So stay tuned. Think about how quickly your own city has changed in the last few years. More delivery riders, more e commerce vans, more EVs, and a lot more pressure on infrastructure. For decades, mobility revolved around privately owned, mechanically driven vehicles sitting idle 90% of the time. Today, cities are shifting toward decentralized AI driven ecosystems where software, cloud intelligence, and renewable energy are doing as much of the heavy lifting as the vehicles themselves. The three big forces driving this shift are electric vehicle ecosystems with megawatt charging, electric two and three wheelers for last mile mobility, mobility as a service or MaaS rapidly moving toward autonomy and on demand pay per use models. Is your organization really prepared to lead, not just follow, this urban mobility transformation? Let's zoom into what is actually happening on the streets in Asia, Europe, and North America. In Southeast Asia and India, for instance, ride hailing giants like Gojek and Grab are not just adding EVs. They are electrifying entire fleets and using AI to optimize routes, cut energy use per kilometer, and still maximize driver earnings. Battery swapping, which many dismissed as a niche play a few years ago, is quietly becoming critical infrastructure. It keeps electric two wheelers running around the clock, eliminating the usual downtime associated with traditional plug in charging. Move to Europe and North America, and you see a parallel shift. Ultra fast and megawatt charging networks are scaling to make electric trucks and buses truly viable for long haul and urban commercial operations. Established players like BYD and Tesla, along with newer startups, are racing to expand charging footprints along key freight corridors and dense metropolitan regions. In other words, urban mobility is not just about swapping gasoline cars for electric cars. It is about redesigning the entire ecosystem, how energy flows, how data flows, and how people and goods move through cities, almost in real time. Now, let's talk scale, because the numbers behind this transformation are anything but small. The global last mile delivery industry alone is projected to exceed USD 453.21 billion by 2035, growing at a compound annual rate of 9.8%. Asia Pacific is at the forefront here, driven by booming e-commerce and the rise of quick commerce platforms promising deliveries in minutes, not days. On the hardware and drivetrain side, the EV traction motor industry is expected to reach around USD 395.75 billion by 2030, supported by a strong 20% annual growth. That figure signals that electrification is steadily becoming the default powertrain in commercial vehicles, not a niche option. Then there is mobility as a service. The MaaS industry is currently valued at about USD 270.8 million and is growing at a healthy 25.4% compound rate through 2029, with roughly 35% of consumers already having used a MaaS service. That adoption level is important because it shows that people are increasingly comfortable not owning the vehicle that moves them. For organizations listening in, these numbers are not just impressive, they are a call to action. They highlight where business models, investments, and strategic partnerships need to pivot if companies want to capture growth. Let's unpack what is reshaping strategy at the C-suite level. First, disruptive technologies. Ultra-fast and megawatt chargers now allow EVs to gain up to roughly 400 miles of range in under 15 minutes, and AI and machine learning are optimizing where chargers are placed and how energy is managed so uptime is high and costs stay under control. Second, geopolitical complexity. Supply chain disruptions, volatile fuel prices, and shifting trade policies are forcing two and three wheeler stakeholders to localize production, diversify sourcing, and engage more actively with policymakers. Third, transformative megatrends such as urbanization, connectivity, and changing consumer expectations are making car sharing and other shared mobility options more efficient, sustainable, and user friendly, as cities actively push people away from private car dependence toward more sustainable transport choices. Of course, none of this is easy. The key challenges are grid infrastructure and power management are major constraints, particularly for megawatt charging, which often requires 18 to 36 months of grid upgrades and approvals. Capital intensity is high, with charging networks, autonomous fleets, and integrated mass platforms often only reaching payback in 5 to 7 years. Regulatory fragmentation, from charging standards to battery recycling and autonomous testing rules, adds further complexity. Yet, there are clear growth drivers pushing the transformation forward. Battery prices continue to fall, giving electric two- and three-wheelers a cost per kilometer advantage over internal combustion alternatives. Fleet operators are hitting profitability within 18 to 24 months because of lower fuel and maintenance costs, even with higher upfront capex. Rising e-commerce and quick commerce, combined with government incentives and carbon mandates in regions like the EU, India, Southeast Asia, and California, are all leaning decisively in favor of electric mobility and advanced last-mile solutions. Is our long-term growth strategy resilient enough to handle these challenges and create a sustainable growth pipeline? 1 megawatt charging infrastructure and seamless energy access. This is about more than just adding fast chargers. It's about expanding access, cutting wait times, and making EV refueling feel as convenient or more convenient than refueling a traditional vehicle. Governments and private investors across Asia Pacific and South America, in particular, are moving quickly to scale these networks, especially along high-traffic freight and urban corridors. 2. Flexible and autonomous charging solutions. Not every location can justify permanent infrastructure. That's where mobile charging vehicles and autonomous charging robots come in, serving underserved areas, reducing congestion at busy charging hubs, and enabling more intelligent load management and predictive maintenance. Number 3, IoT-powered predictive maintenance and fleet intelligence. By monitoring motor health, temperature, vibration, and other parameters in real time, IoT-based systems can identify anomalies early. That dramatically reduces downtime, extends component life, and creates a data-rich environment in which fleet operators can continuously optimize routes, utilization, and service intervals. Leading players are already moving. BYD, Tesla, NIO, and Lucid are shaping the EV ecosystem. Gojek, Rapido, Ultraviolet Automotive, and BMW Motorrad are redefining last-mile mobility. Baidu's Apollo Go, Zoox, RideCell, and Zipcar are pushing mass and autonomy, and supply chain specialists like Cattle, Fluence, and VeChain are strengthening the energy and battery backbone behind it all. Pairing megawatt infrastructure investment with grid modernization, on-site battery storage, and intelligent energy management instead of just adding more chargers. Building partnerships that combine battery swapping networks with ride-hailing platforms and fleet operators, while integrating financing tools such as loans, leases, and microinsurance to lower barriers for end users. Investing early in IoT sensors and cloud analytics so they own vehicle health and operational data, which in turn translates into stronger customer relationships and new aftermarket revenue streams. If this episode sparks ideas or questions, now is the time to explore them more deeply with your teams, partners, and stakeholders. Thanks for joining us on Frost & Sullivan's Growth Podcast. For access to our research, competitive benchmarking, and best practice frameworks, head over to frost.com or email us at hello@frost.com. We'll be back soon with more to help you stay clear-headed and growth-ready.